It is Thursday, October 31st, 2024. This is another edition of Baseball Today, presented to you by our friends over at SeatGeek. That is my man, Trevor Plouffe. I am Chris Rose, producer Dan, along for the ride as well. Don't worry, we'll cheer him up over the next 30 to 40 minutes or however how long it takes. Look at you all smirky in your Dodger blue.
No, I was just wondering why you said producer Dan's name like that.
Why? What did I say it like?
We had a spicy behind the scenes
We
before the
did.
show. We were going
Very
at it a little
spicy.
bit. Obviously, Dan's a Yankee fan, kind of in his feelings right now, but he's doing a good job. He's a hard worker. We
He is.
respect what Dan does for sure. But this show's not about Dan. And the show's really like, well, it will be a little bit about the Yankees, but really, this is about the Dodgers.
Yes, it is.
World Series champs 2024. LA is going crazy right now, Chris Rose.
So this edition of Baseball Today is presented to you by SeatGeek, official ticket marketplace of Major League Baseball, giving all of you 10% off your next purchase with the code JOHNBOYPLAYOFFS10. Doesn't matter what you're buying or if you've bought on SeatGeek before, that code JOHNBOYPLAYOFFS10 is going to hook you up. That's JOHNBOYPLAYOFFS10 for 10% off your next SeatGeek purchase. You will thank us later. I want to thank everybody for participating in the 2024 season. I can't believe it is over after 5 games of the World Series, particularly after the way the first 3 innings of Game 5 went. But Dodger Blue hung in there with a huge assist from the New York Yankees defense, and the season ended something like this.
Start the party, Los Angeles! Your Dodgers have won the World Series!
They're the closest group that I've ever been around. They care for each other, love one another, and even when we were down 5-0, they didn't bat an eye, they didn't quit, they kept fighting, and I'm just so proud of these guys. They wanted it for the fans. I talked about getting a parade. We're going to get our parade this year.
Obviously, for me personally, huge. Two years off, 2 surgeries. It's a lot. For our organization, we deserve this. We've been playing really good baseball for a lot of years, and 2020 and whatever, but I can't say a whole lot about it now.
Well, those were the sounds of Dave Roberts and Walker Buehler, who got the last 3 outs of the 2024 World Series. There was a little drop in audio. That's because there were some bad words thrown out there by Walker Buehler on TV, and we get it. We get it. We're going to get to all the defensive miscues of the Yankees. And there's no question about that, and there's a ton of people that are just going to say, well, the Yankees gave this away. But I do have to credit the Dodgers. Not every team would have been able to walk through the door that the Yankees held open for them.
That was the crux of this series, Chris Rose, was that the Dodgers did the little things right. Also got some big hits. Obviously, you need those in a series like this, but they did everything right. They played better defense than the Yankees. They ran the bases harder and better than the Yankees. And in the end, I mean, that's what won them this World Series. You could talk about Freddie Freeman and the homers. Sure, that was obviously a massive part. MVP Freddie. We'll get to that. But I truly believe that the pressure applied by the Dodgers by doing the little things right, that's what kind of like broke the dam open, if you will.
Yeah, and I think it kind of exemplified their season a little bit. They're not going to be mistaken as the little engine that could. You would be silly to say that after they spent $1.2 billion in the offseason. But there is no question that they are the marquee franchise of this sport for several reasons. Number one, they open their pocketbooks. They are willing to spend each and every year to put the best team possible out there. They draft and they develop second to none in this sport. When Andrew Freeman came over a decade ago, he said it's not good enough to just be the best spenders in the league. You have to grow from within. So just in case you incur a few injuries or a few hundred in the case of the Dodgers, you have guys that can back you up. And they did that throughout the entire year and well into this World Series run. And say what you want about Dave Roberts, and I have a lot of Dodger friends that are fans that have said everything, including beat it, pal, get out of here. He did a masterful job throughout this postseason.
Yeah, I thought he did a great job handling the bullpen, and, today was really tough for them. Obviously, bullpen game 4, used a bunch of guys, and then they were relying on Flaherty to give them some innings today, and they had their good bullpen ready to go, but Jack didn't get past the second inning, so all of a sudden, Dave Roberts is light on pitching, and he had to, navigate. I thought he brought in Trinan at the right time, and then I don't know when Walker put his spikes on, or if that was from the get-go, or he went in the 5th inning. I didn't see exactly when he went out there, but the fact that they had him just in the back pocket, I think that's I went on Instagram Live and I was talking about that, and, having if you had somebody to close out this World Series, and it wasn't gonna be Blake Trinan. For the Dodgers fans, I think it would be awesome to see Shohei and, him come back from an arm injury and close the World Series out. We knew that wasn't going to happen, though. But the next man up, I think, in Dodgers fans' eyes, like, that would exemplify kind of this organization, it's Walker Buehler. Like, seeing him out there to close it out, I think I hope it doesn't put a bow tie on his time with the organization, but he's going to. This little playoff run that he just went on earned him a lot of money. I know you said that doesn't earn people money in the playoffs. I think it earned Walker Buehler a lot of money because it showed that he could still, he still has it, man. In the biggest of games, Walker Buehler was still Walker Buehler that we remembered. And seeing him come out there for the 9th, or even watching him warm up in the 8th, and I was like, oh my gosh, like, are we really going to get this? He comes out 3 up, 3 down. I was going nuts, man.
Well, I think that the save became an official statistic in 1969. I believe I saw on social media that Buehler became the second pitcher ever to win a World Series game and then save the clinching game as well. Of course, Madison Bumgarner did it in 2014 for the San Francisco Giants. You're right about Buehler. And now I would disagree with you. I felt in the case of Jack Flaherty, he had to prove that he could pitch an entire season. And, yeah, he did not have a very good postseason. He had a couple of starts that were good and then a couple of real bad ones out there. I don't think that's going to affect his free agency. I do think that Walker Buehler proved that he is back. And he needed to here in this October run.
Yes.
And you could hear it in his voice. Like, people were doubting me. I don't think he was guaranteed a roster spot in the playoffs. In fact, I would almost guarantee that he wouldn't have had a spot had certain guys been healthy. He might not have been on there and had a chance to shine the way that he did. So good for him. There's one other point about Game 5 that I want to go over. Yes, the Yankees, and once again, we'll break down their defensive shortcomings. Freddie Freeman, though, got a knock to keep the inning going. Teoscar Hernandez got another knock to tie it up. Not every team would do that. Then the Yankees reclaimed the lead, took a 6-5 lead. And how did the Dodgers score their last 2 runs of the season? Sacrifice flies. Putting the ball in play when you need to, with 2 strikes in the case of Gavin Lux. Hell of a job by them. And just the term, sacrifice. Like, they did.
Yeah, I mean, like, they got the job done. Don't forget about the catcher interference in between those ones.
Right.
Don't forget that. We're going to get into all the miscues. But yeah, I mean, this team, they have the ability, the Dodgers team this year had the ability to run the bases, play small ball. We saw them bunt in runs when need be. They had versatile guys like Tom Yebben and Kike. They had big sluggers like Freddie and Shohei. They really did have it all. They had a great back end of the bullpen. They figured out the starting pitching, which was crazy to me. I mean, that was I know Jack didn't, his overall postseason wasn't great, but he pitched well when, at times. Yamamoto looked great. Walker Buehler looked great. Like, they figured it out, man. I do think Dave Roberts deserves some credit because he has, for a long time, gotten the opposite of credit. He's been asked to leave, like you said, and a lot of Dodger fans are very worried when, it comes down to the decisions. But I think him in the front office, their game plan for how they were going to approach the pitching was great. They figured it out. You can call it punting Game 4 if you want, but in the end, they're hoisting the trophy, man. And it was a true, I think, it's always funny. Like every team that wins, it's always like, this is the closest team I've ever been around. Surprising what winning can do for you. You get really close when you're starting to win. But I do think this was an organizational award or a trophy, excuse me, like from top down, like you mentioned. Like the player development deserves a lot. The coaching that the Dodgers have, I know a lot of guys on that coaching staff, man. I played with Aaron Bates. I played with Danny Lehman, who's the bench coach. Rob Van Scoyoc, I spent an entire offseason with. He's the hitting coach, and he is second to none, in my opinion, in the league. I think I think if you polled people in the league, he's the best hitting coach in all of baseball, and the Dodgers scooped him up. They know talent when they see it, and that goes with players and coaching as well. So it really is hats off to the Dodgers organization.
Well, you talk about the talent. The top three in that order, even though Shohei didn't do much in the World Series.
He was banged up, dude.
He was banged up.
He kept grabbing that left shoulder. Yeah.
But I want to focus on the guy who walked away with the World Series MVP. He didn't homer. He tried to homer. Judge ran it down, though, in left center field. But Freddie Freeman, congratulations on that honor.
This is it right here. Not this. That one. That one. That's what it's about. That's what it's about. Freddie, you were in. Yeah, there you go.
For those of you that are audio only, he wasn't pointing at the World Series MVP trophy. He was pointing at the Commissioner's Trophy and then gave it a nice, big, juicy hug. It was interesting because remember when the World Series started last Friday, we asked the question, which of the 6 everyday superstars would have a chance to shine most bright in this World Series? I think I went with Soto, and I think you went with Mookie. Yeah. And I think, we kind of all went through it. Well, maybe Judge, this is his time. Maybe Shohei will end up doing it. I don't think either one of us considered Freddie Freeman based on the injury, and he was just a machine.
Yeah, he was so banged up, watching him try to plant that foot just wasn't working out for him. And he's mentioned it many times in the post-game interviews. He said that time off between the World Series allowed him to heal up, and then it allowed him to get back in the cage and probably get back to his normal routine. He said he found a cue, which is so cool. That was, I don't know what interview that was. I think that was afterwards with Poppy and A-Rod and Jeter. He's like, I found a cue. And what that means is he was in the cage and all of a sudden something clicked for him. And it could be anything. It could be one swing. It could be something that Van Scoyoc said to him. It could have been taking a pitch. It could be anything, man. When you find that, when you feel that, like, oh, man, like there it is, it's such a great feeling as a hitter. And clearly he benefited from it greatly.
Yep, he did. And, we're going to look back at this deal that he ended up signing for, 6 years and maybe 162-ish, something like that, and say that the Dodgers got every penny out of this dude. It's been pretty remarkable, and it's great. It's a great bounce back for both him and Mookie, who were kind of had the albatross hanging around their neck of being eliminated in the divisional round in 2022 by the Padres, then last year by the Arizona Diamondbacks, and for both of them to have played pretty well here in the postseason is great. I do want to talk a little bit about Shohei and what this means for him, making the move up the I-5 north 30 miles or so from Anaheim to Chavez Ravine, and he might have as well have been on different planets because his first year in Dodger Blue was nothing short of remarkable.
I feel that way for a lot of guys on that team, but we'll stay on Shohei. This is what he wanted to do. This is why he signed with the Dodgers. He wanted to play in the playoffs. And, when you play in the playoffs, you give yourself a chance to win the World Series. And I think that this is only going to fuel him because he was hurt and because he didn't really have a great World Series. He's very happy, obviously. But I think this is going to fuel him going into the offseason being like, man, like, I want that trophy that Freddie got. Like, I want to be the guy that helps my team. We know he's going to pitch next year. I'm very curious. To see what that looks like, what the Dodgers are going to do with him. But this is sad, and I don't want to do this to him. But I thought about Mike Trout. I did.
Hell yes, you can't help.
I thought about Mike Trout when I saw Shohei up there smiling and celebrating, and I don't know, man. I want to see the best players play in these big moments, and it's I'm sorry, Angels fans and Mike Trout. I'm sorry for bringing that up, but that's what I felt.
Yeah. And it was great to see him do well. He did very well in the first 2 rounds. His numbers with runners in scoring position were astronomical, things we had never seen before. Ends up getting hurt then in game 2 on the slide. Obviously wasn't the same. Didn't put up good numbers in the World Series. For some reason, isn't it one of the great things about social media where you get people who even played in the sport that are saying, why don't we have the same passion talking about the failures of Shohei Ohtani that we do of Aaron Judge? I don't know, maybe because this is his first playoffs and he had one shitty series out of the 3. I don't know, maybe that's it.
Who said that to us?
Nobody said it to us, but put it out on social media.
Like towards us?
No, not towards us.
Oh, okay.
It's just put it out there in the universe. Like, hey,
I mean,
why don't we have
say a lot of things, dude.
I know, but people who played the game, hold on.
Stuff.
People who played the game should know better. Like, that's silly.
Chris, I played with a lot of dummies. I'll tell you that much. I don't know who this was. I'm not necessarily calling them a dummy, but just because you played doesn't mean you know everything.
No.
Now, me, I know everything, Chris. You know that.
Yes, you do. So it's awesome. The Dodgers, I think, are going to have a parade through the streets of Los Angeles on Friday. That's a quick turn. You want to go down there? You want to just go hang out, do a lot? No, me neither. So we'll watch it on TV. That'll be awesome. By the way, I want to offer congratulations to the first ever second. Austin Hedges won a ring last year. So now the second and third guys to have won a ring, members of the Rose rotation, Miguel Rojas, who's been with us since our inception. Same with Tyler Glasnow. Obviously, those guys were limited in what they could do in the World Series because of health. Miggy Rowe, I think, only started 1 game. Tyler Glasnow obviously didn't pitch at all, but had substantial roles in helping the Dodgers win it all in 2024.
He's a show pony.
So let's, by the way, it's interesting who takes their shirts off in these champagne dreams.
Obviously, Tyler does.
Of course he does. But it's also Kershaw. It's got to be a skit now, right?
What's anyone going to say to him? He's like, yes, I have a dad bod, but I'm also a Hall of Famer, and I'm way richer than all of you. All these things he could say. He's got so many trump cards. What
But it is part of a skit now, right? I mean, like it's part of a little funny thing that they do.
I would love to have my shirt off.
I know you would.
Getting champagne and beer dumped all over me. I love that, Chris. I might just do it tonight just to myself.
What the hell? Just go for it.
Yeah.
You've earned it. Let's talk about the game from the Yankees standpoint. A 5-0 lead. Judge goes deep in the first 2-run shot. First World Series homer. Jazz follows it up. It's the first time the Yankees go back-to-back in the World Series since 77, I believe. Giancarlo Stanton goes deep. It's 5-0. Cole hadn't allowed a hit through 4 innings. Man, things are going great. Well, then Kike leads off the 5th with the first hit. No, it's not a big deal. It's just a 1 hit. Then Tommy Edman hits ball, and Aaron Judge dropped it.
I don't know what happened right there.
Yeah. So that was the start of it. Kike, if it wasn't for his speed, doesn't get there. Then Will Smith hits a grounder. Volpe makes the right play going to third, just short hops at the Jazz. And then Cole gets strikeouts of Lux and Ohtani. And then Bitts hits the little spinner to Rizzo. He thought Cole was going to cover. Didn't get him out of the inning. Instead, the inning continues. Freeman gets the 2-run knock. Teoscar Hernandez gets a 2-run double, and all of a sudden we're 5-5, and Cole threw about 1 billion pitches in the 5th inning when he really should have been out of it about 6 or 7 times.
Yes, a lot of things happen. I do want to start with this. Garrett Cole's a freaking dog.
Awesome.
A freaking dog. Came back out for 2 more innings after that. Had great stuff. He did not deserve any of that.
By the way, I thought Smoltz was great on that.
Yeah.
I thought people can say whatever they want about John. When he's talking about pitching situations, and he said there's maybe 3 people like who could have continued pitching after what Garrett Cole went through. I didn't mean to interrupt, but I wanted to.
No, I totally agree. I was in lockstep with Smoltz there. That was very, very impressive to watch. So, Dan, bring the Judge one back up. Let's bring that back up. All I can say is catch it a little bit higher. You know, he kind of coasted to that ball, and I always tell my kids, you try to catch it above your eyes. Once the ball goes below your eyes, it's not great. I think he could have came in there. They showed a replay of it. He was looking towards first base to, I don't know, to try to double up Kike, which was kind of, I mean, he just took his eye off the ball, man. I know, like, that's his first error of the year. There's not really too much to say about that. He just literally took his eyes off the ball and he dropped it. And that was, you know, when something like that happens, something that rare, you start to think, like, what? Baseball's such a silly sport like that, dude. Like, it can compound itself very quickly.
I couldn't believe it.
So then go to the Volpe grounder. This is the hardest play a shortstop has to make, is like a slow roller to his right. It's really difficult. Like, he can't really go to first base right here. I think it might have been his only play, going to third like that, but the touch wasn't there. Like, he could have set his feet and thrown that a little bit harder. Like, turn your body right there. Like, take that right leg, turn it, and get some fire on that throw. Instead, he rushed it because Kike was getting down there and made a bad throw. Like, he palmed that thing. Like, get on the side of that ball, get a little bit under it. And then this one is okay.
That's inexplicable.
This one's tough.
You played some first base, right?
Yes, I have. So, okay. So, Lux Ks, Ohtani Ks, they're going to get out of this freaking inning. Mookie cue ball to Rizzo. Number one, Garrett Cole, anything over there has to start going, and he did, but you got to keep going. You have to keep going. That is just rule number one. Start going over there, and you got to keep going. Rizzo here, and our producer Dan has told us he's watched all the Yankee games this year. He says he really doesn't ever take it himself. Now, this one, I know he was just trying to, like, get to the side angle, make sure he fielded it, but you got to keep your eyes, like, you got to know what's going on, like, have a little bit of court awareness, if you will. And this looks crazy right here, Chris. I know. This screenshot looks absolutely crazy. You see Cole pointing, like, take it, bro. He's like, I'm not going to fucking beat Mookie Betts in a foot race right now, dude. Like, that's not going to happen. And then, even then, I don't know, man. Like, you would expect, like, a dive to the bag. I feel like I've seen Rizzo do that before. But once this happened, dude, and they got their first run, it was like, uh-oh. And then after that, Freddie, great two-strike knock up the middle. And then Teo, I thought, with even a better at bat. When he hit that ball, I wasn't sure it was going to go over Judge's head. It did. Yeah. All of a sudden, it's a tie freaking game. That was. Now, those, yeah, I mean, I don't want to say it was a microcosm of the Yankees season, because I don't truly believe that. I don't think they were that bad all year defensively, but that just shows, like, the juxtaposition of what the Dodgers do and the Yankees, what they didn't do this series. It cost them the game. The Dodgers didn't have innings like that, you know, like, they weren't poor on the base pass. They were making the plays. Tommy Edman was making plays. I know he had an error. I think, like, the first play of the World Series, I think he made an error, right?
Something like that.
But when they needed to make plays, they did. And the Yankees right here, this is going to go down for the Yankees as possibly the worst inning, like, ever. Like, it's in the conversation for the worst inning in Yankees history, the worst half inning in Yankees history. I don't know all of the Yankees history, but you'd be hard pressed to find something worse than that, Chris. 5-0 you were up, and all of a sudden it's 5-5 because you had 3 miscues in one inning. I don't know, man.
It's brutal.
Dan, you can chime in. Has there been a worse inning than that?
Well, I mean, Dan's in his 20s. He doesn't know.
He said no. He doesn't know. You're totally right. Chris, you're a baseball historian. What do you got on that?
I can't remember any sort of inning in World Series competition where literally your biggest names falter. You mentioned Aaron Judge, first air in center field this year. Anthony Volpe won the Gold Glove a year ago. Anthony Rizzo's
got a platinum glove, doesn't he?
I forget if he does have a platinum glove. Now, he's not close to the fielder that he used to be. He doesn't move nearly as well as he once did. But then again, who does when we get a little bit older? But the fact that he and
platinum
Garrett Cole,
glove.
are looking at each other.
4-time Gold Glover, platinum winner as well.
That's my point, though, is that these are the guys who you expect to be able to handle it, whether it's because of their talent, like a Volpe, or their experience, like a Rizzo. I mean, you need to make a play. It is that simple. Now, I have a hard time not giving the Dodgers credit here. But I would say that 98% of sports fans on all the shows on Thursday and Friday, if they're talking about it, are going to say that the Yankees choked this away.
They did, but here's the thing. They only got one run after all that stuff we just talked about. All those errors. There was still 5-1, Chris, and 2 outs.
Yeah.
And then Freddie, single for 2 runs, and Teo, double for 2 runs. So, you have to give credit to the Dodgers. They capitalize on mistakes. That's what sports is all about at the professional level. You have to, as a hitter, hit the bad pitches, hit the misses, hit the mistakes.
Mm-hmm.
The good teams take advantage of these things. They didn't score all the runs on errors. They scored 1 run on the errors. Then Freddie and Teo put together great at-bats, and then they drove in the rest of them. I get why it's going to be that. I just said it's the worst inning. That's probably the worst inning I've ever seen, for being honest.
Are you okay with people saying the Yankees choked?
They did choke. But the Dodgers took advantage of that choking. Like I said, they only scored 1 run.
I hate the word. I hate the word when it's still the middle of the game. I don't know. Just weird shit can happen in baseball.
But dude, that's 3. Those are 3 plays that aren't even
I know.
They're not. Those are 3 routine plays. The only Volpe's is kind of difficult. That ball, I told you, that's the hardest ball for a shortstop. But what I really mean by that is if you have to go to first base or to second base. But if you're just throwing to third base right there, you just got to get your body in the right position. He did not do that. But the other 2 are just absolute routine. 100 out of 100 times you make those plays, except I guess 99 out of 100 times.
Those guys are going to have to live with that for an entire offseason. I mean, Rizzo, for him, it sucks. But he's got a ring. For Judge, whose legacy will continue to come into question, that's going to haunt him. Anthony Volpe's in his 2nd year. We'll see where that takes him. And Garrett Cole's going to be kicking himself because he'll say, I should have gone and covered. I don't think he beats Mookie to the bag. But
Anthony Volpe was on MLB Network talking about how he keeps a note, a notes document about people that talk crap about him. So hopefully, I don't know.
He keeps receipts.
Be in that now?
Well, I mean, we're not talking shit about him. We're talking facts. The fact is he made an error, and that happens.
I'm okay. Dude, I try to be obviously very I don't try to be anything. I just am who I am. I am player friendly because I understand how hard the freaking game is, and I promised myself I would never forget that.
Well, but hold on.
But I can talk about the game. I could talk about this.
What are you not going to talk about? There were 2 errors and a mental error. That's exactly what happened. That's not being mean. That's nobody keeping receipts. Those are facts. Those are facts right there.
Those are facts.
Here's another fact. You know what y'all need a little bit more of? To get off your ass. With bold flavors, refreshing citrus kick Mountain Dew will get you off your ass, have you feeling like you're on an actual mountain. A mountain where the weather's always perfect, your friends are ready to hang, a day of epic proportions awaits. So we want you to go outside, go enjoy the fresh air, the competitiveness, be social with your friends. Go have a longest drive contest or a 3-point shooting contest. Go play some ping pong, play a little bit of frisbee golf, set up your gamer system. Go do that with your buddies. Play kickball, play wiffle ball, play blitzball, play pickleball. Create a new kind of ball. I don't care what it is. Why? Because the mountain is calling and you should answer. So grab your friends, grab an ice cold Mountain Dew, wherever refreshing beverages are sold, and do the do. So we move on. The New York Yankees. Season comes up a little short, even though they got to the Fall Classic for the first time in 15 years. That happens to be the last time they actually won the entire thing. Here is Aaron Boone and then Garrett Cole.
Yeah, I mean, it's doesn't take away my pride of what that room means to me and what that group forged this year and what we've been through to get here. But I'm heartbroken. I'm heartbroken for those guys that pour so much into this. You know, the ending is cruel.
You know, you just keep pushing, and you know, ultimately we came up short, and it's just brutal.
Emotional stuff right there, man. It's emotional. There are some Yankee fans, because the fact that they've won 27 championships, that will call 2024 a failure. What say you?
Okay, I mean, no, it's not a failure. I get that they didn't win the last game of the season, but that's 29 or 28 other teams say the same thing. So I get it stings right now, and I get that, you know, in that organization, it's championship or bust essentially. But I just can't get behind that whole thing, calling a season a failure when you made it to the World Series. You won the American League pennant. You went out and traded for Juan Soto. That in itself is a victory. You know, going and putting it all out there on the line. Like, I don't think there's any shame in that. Now, this game wasn't great for them, and the way the World Series went wasn't great for them. But I'm not going to call it a failure of a season. It was a failure of a series, a failure of the World Series, and I get it. Like, fans want it. They haven't had it since 2009, 15 years ago. I get it. But I just can't do it, Chris. I can't call a season a failure when you win the American League pennant. I just can't do it. So to me, no. I understand that's where a lot of Yankee fans are landing with this. Probably guys in that clubhouse are going to come out and say that because that's just what you're trained to say when you play in New York. But dude, like, they did a lot of things well this year. The offseason is going to be very, very interesting for them. But if you're going to ask me, and who the hell am I? But I don't consider it a failure if you make it to the World Series. I just don't.
I think it's an unhealthy way to think, to be honest with you. I really do. I mean, Aaron Judge almost hit 60 homers again. So did you not enjoy that? Did you not enjoy perhaps the 1 year of Juan Soto where he mushed a ball in Cleveland, gave maybe the best at bat of the entire season, and sent you to the World Series for the first time in 15 years? Did you not enjoy any of that stuff? Does it just all go away now? So it didn't count because the season was a failure? None of that made you feel good? I mean, really? So you want to pour all your energy for 7 months into the team that you love. It's okay to be disappointed. Shit, I was disappointed by the Guardians, but you know what? I wouldn't look at it as a failed season. And some people say, well, Rose, that's the difference between New York and Cleveland. You're a loser if you don't think that way. Well, I'm going to let you in on a few facts here, my friends. In the last 24 seasons, the Yankees have exactly as many World Series championships as the mighty Washington Nationals, the mighty Angels, the mighty Marlins, the mighty Rangers. So you tell me, if you want to keep living in the past with the great teams of yesteryear, and I respect the hell out of the organization, but don't give me this crap. You guys are not the same. It is not the same as it used to be. Well, if George Steinbrenner were here, stop saying that. Stop it. Move along. He hasn't been alive for almost 15 years. So you have to stop with that. He's not here. His kids are not like him. Stop it with that. It's a good team. It's a good organization. You're not the best in this sport. The best players don't always want to go play for the Yankees. It's just the way it is. So you know what? Enjoy where you finished. You finished second. I know Tiger Woods always says second sucks, and sometimes it does. That's where you are right now. You are lumped in with a bunch of other teams.
I didn't know you were going to go that hard on him. Okay.
But all I'm saying is that their expectations are a bit unrealistic right now.
I like the passion of Yankee fans.
So do I.
I like that they think that way. And now you know my feelings on pre-integration baseball. I feel like none of that shit even counts if we're being honest. Okay, like again, Dominican slider, We need go and face one of those, okay? I'm just saying. I don't really count pre-integration very often, so I'm kind of with you on that. The past. I have a USC football. You talk about that. Like a lot of the stuff they won was way in the past. Notre Dame, way in the past. It's all of the same ilk to me. Yeah. So I don't know why you kind of went that way with this one, but I'm kind of happy you did. But I think we're both in agreement here that it's not a failure of a season. It's a failure of a series. You played bad baseball in this World Series. You did. It was not good, clean baseball. And maybe everything would have been different if Freddie Freeman didn't hit that grand slam. But guess what? He hit the grand slam.
He sure as hell did. Yankees had a great
Do you
season.
think that? Let me ask you that, Chris Rose. That's a Chris Rose question. I've ever heard one. Do you think this series would have went differently if Freddie Freeman would have popped up? And the Yankees win game 1?
Whew, that's a good question.
I stumped you. I love this.
No, I don't think the end result would have been different. I predicted 7 games, and I predicted Dodgers winning in 7 games, and I still would. I want to stick through that.
I think the Dodgers were clearly the better overall team and better roster in this World Series. And I did say this. I was trying to find the footage of it, but I talked about how there was probably 4 teams, National League teams, that I'd put before doing power rankings that I would put before any American League team, and I stand by that. Yeah, I think the best teams this year were in the National League, and I think once the Dodgers got past the Padres, I think that was their biggest hurdle.
My last thing, and I'm not trying to pile on to the Yankees. Okay,
you kind of are. I'm here for it. It's gonna be, but these comments, baby, gonna be spicy.
Fine, you can have whatever comments you want. Guess what? The Guardians and the Yankees ended up in the same spot, watching somebody else celebrate. So there. At any rate, the Yankees since 2013 are 6-0 in the playoffs against teams from the American League Central. They're 0-6 against everybody else. So y'all are champs of the division that I root for. So congratulations. Yes. I don't know if they hand out a trophy for that. If so, I'll go look into it. But that is a problem. That's a major, major problem. I know nobody wants to hear it, but it was a good season.
Are we doing this Halloween question, or are we just skipping?
We're going to, but
I have something to talk about.
Well, but I need to get to our SeatGeek question of the week.
I thought I was doing something now.
What are you doing? Oh, yeah, you are. There is something else.
Yeah, you know what, Chris? You know what? It is a little chilly. There's a chill in the air, and the leaves are falling to the ground, and football is on every weekend. That's what fall is all about. You can make each weekend even more exciting by getting into the action with our partners at DraftKings, the #1 place to bet on touchdowns. Right now, all new customers who bet $5 will instantly get $200 in bonus bets when you use code BASEBALL today. Stay in on the action and use $200 in bonus bets to bet anytime touchdowns on DraftKings. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app now. New customers use that promo code BASEBALL today and bet just $5 on any wager and get $200 in bonus bets instantly. That's promo code BASEBALL today, only at the DraftKings Sportsbook.
Thank you, Trevor. Time right now for our SeatGeek question of the week. The person who just earned themselves $500 in SeatGeek credit. Trace_B. Whose legacy, player, coach, front office, owner, has the most on the line with this World Series? We can now answer that in the past tense, so it could be good or bad. Who do you think that is?
I mean, this was a late entry to the show because we didn't know if there was going to be another game. So I haven't really had a lot of time to think about this. I'm going to shoot from the hip, if you will, Chris. Right here, man. Just a little. Like Doc Holliday. I think Dave Roberts. That's what I'm going to go with. I think he's cemented himself as a Hall of Fame manager now. How about that? Wow. And I'm not so sure he was there, and I think now he is there. How about that?
I think that's
agree
great.
Or disagree.
I, I think so. Listen, he's got more World Series championships than Bobby Cox, and as long as he continues on, and why wouldn't he right now? Like, if I'm his agent, I think I'm going to ask for a nice, hefty extension, and you have a feeling they're going to continue to go year after year winning that division.
If they lose this World Series and it's bad, and they just bring Shohei in and Yamamoto, and they have Freddie and all these guys, they lose it, and it was on him, I don't know if they would have made a change, but he's certainly looked at completely differently now that he's won this World Series in 2024. So I think actually my answer is a good one. How about that?
It's a great one. I'm going to go two directions. The first one is anybody named Will Smith, because that is the 5th straight year that a Will Smith has won a World Series ring, which is like in 100 years, they're going to go back and look at that and be like, wait, that's not the same guy? Nope. So catcher Will Smith has bookended now 5 straight World Series championships. But I do think it's a guy we talked about a little earlier, Freddie Freeman. We both believe that he's going to Cooperstown regardless. But now to have won a regular season MVP and a World Series MVP with 2 different franchises, by the way, that's pretty damn special. And he, I know that some people might have been sick and tired about hearing about his ankle, but the difference between watching him try and play game 1 against the Padres and what he ended up doing in the World Series, where he homered 4 straight games this year and 6 in a row, dating back to his 2021 days with the Braves. That dude's a wizard with that stick in his hand, man.
I agree with that. I love Freddie, and I think he's getting all his flowers that he deserves them. I want to give, before we get on to our last thing, I want to do like a couple, like, I don't even know, tying up loose ends.
Tying up loose ends. Okay.
2 shout outs. Kevin Kiermaier and Daniel Hudson, who are both retiring, going out on top, a la Peyton Manning. So, I played with KK. I think the world of him. I love him as a person, and one hell of a ball player, man. Like, watching him run down balls in center field was a treat. I know we didn't get to see it in the World Series, but just want to shout him out and say congratulations to both him and Hudson. I thought we might get Hudson. If he's slamming the door on 2 World Series would have been really fun. Thought we might get him. Bueller took it instead. So shout out both those guys. And the last thing I want to talk about, and this is for LA, my West Coast people, specifically my LA people, think about Fernando Valenzuela and Kobe Bryant watching the World Series together up there, man. We were having a good time. So this one's for Fernando and our guy Kobe.
I believe LA, Fernando's birthday would have been Friday, if I'm not mistaken. Let me see here if I can bring that up real quickly. I'm almost positive about that.
Do you want me to get it for you? I got my page up.
Yeah. Let me see.
His birthday would have been...
Yep. He was born November 1st, 1960. Yeah, he would have been 64 on Friday, when the day they'll have the parade, and I'm sure they will honor him respectfully. That would be cool.
Invite me to your carne asada, man. Anybody in LA, I'm ready to party this weekend. I am the Dodgers guy. Let's go.
Well, there is a party.
I can cook too.
Yes, you can. There is a party. It's Halloween. You get into it, right? You love to dress up.
I don't really, but it depends. If I get to pick the costume, then yes. But I don't always get to do that.
Okay. Oh, here you are. Oh, that's Jack Flaherty.
Yeah. That is World Series champion Jack Flaherty. And that's Olivia. And then I'm Aemon Targaryen right there.
Oh, it's very nice.
And she's my dragon.
That's lovely. I haven't dressed up as much recently because my kids are obviously grown up, but this is back in the day. That's like 15 years ago. How good is that?
I'm looking at Michelle.
She looked great.
Hey, girl.
I know, right?
Hey, girl.
All right. So we are far from done. There is no off season around here, John Boy Media, and with baseball today.
Just a little bit.
A little bit. Yeah. We'll see you next week. Start talking about what's going to happen on the postseason. Can't wait. The off season, I should say. In terms of free agency, who's going to be getting offers, who's not, who's going to be getting traded, managerial moves, all sorts of stuff. Cannot wait.
Dodger fans did not like when I said Walker Buehler to San Diego. They did not.
No, they did not.
No.
They did not at all. Special shout out to our one-of-a-kind producer, Dan Rourke.
We love you, Dan.
We do love him. We love to screw with him, and he is as passionate a Yankee fan as there is. But he has pushed through. There are times where we're shooting this at 2:20 in the morning, his time, and he's putting it together. He grinds like no other. He streamed 128 Yankee games. I love his work ethic. He's a little nutty, but he's a great kid, and we couldn't do it without him. So that's a shout out to our one-of-a-kind producer, Dan Rourke. That is the uber-talented Trevor Plouffe. I am Chris Rose. We will see you very soon. Congratulations to the Los Angeles Dodgers, your 2024 World Series champions. Thanks so much for tuning into Baseball Today, presented to you by SeatGeek.